And welcome in. It is closest to the win. It's the Wells Fargo Championship. It's Quail Hollow. We have Pro back. We have Guru back. Justin's out. It's all coming up right now. And welcome back in. It's so nice to see the pro in the house. He took a week's vacation and went and played some golf with a bunch of boys. I love boys' golf outings. How was it, man?
It was something. I consumed a lot of adult cocktails, played some damn good golf, which was fun. But we had a real good time. The house was sweet, had everything you could want. So the house could sleep 26 people. So it was a good time.
Did anybody run amok?
No. There was some people that that got sloppy, but the head count is what we left with. So when we got back, so we're in good shape.
No arrest records or nothing like that.
No, I didn't have to bail anybody out or get bailed out myself.
And you got some cash. You got some extra cash to play this week.
Yes, yeah. I did come out definitely on top over the week. So
you're a hustler. You're hustling those boys. You're a pro.
Hey, now I come in with an extremely low handicap, so I had to play well. I shot around under par, so I got it going pretty well. I think I won like $90 or $100 the one day, and so we had a good time, man. But yeah, it's always nice to come home with a couple bucks as well. The wife likes that.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit easier for her to swallow on the next trip.
Exactly.
Remember the money? Remember when I came back with that dozen roses?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, especially with Mother's Day coming up, right?
Well timed.
We're already getting comments from the peanut gallery. Ryan Henson's already sending us comments because he's looking at the top 20, top 15, and he sees, of course, Harmon in there. Harmon's been a staff favorite and earning it. So we're gonna get right to that, Ryan, in just a few minutes. Guru, how are you, man? What's up?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. It's a big week, Beast of the Southeast, the PGA coming up in 2 weeks. I'm not really too worried about next week. It's this, and then get everything ready for the PGA, man. It's exciting, man. North Carolina, Texas, then back to South Carolina. Yeah, it's a nice little step. A lot of good golfers in this week. Course looks just beastly long, and par 71 to boot. So let's have some fun, man, and hopefully you can score a little bit and keep it afloat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and we'll recap. Last week was a great week. We had a lot of great plays, and very happy to report that I was able to capitalize on Sam Burns 80 to 1.
Very nice.
That always makes the DraftKings book balance a little better. And so I have a really super deep play for this week. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Oh, that's exciting.
It's as a matter of fact, I wrote it down as a crazy ass dart throw. And so but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But anyway, talk about Quail Hollow. I want to hear you first, Nick, and then we'll let Pro talk about it.
So the fact that I think it's up to 75.50 now. I think that rivals like Bethpage Black or something in terms of just shorter courses. Not like a 71 or 70 or something, and in terms of the length. So you're gonna have to be able to hit it a little bit just to be on the the right side of things. You probably don't have to be the Bryson of the world, but you probably still need to be in the top 20% as far as driving goes. You're just gonna have to do that. You're gonna historically it works out that you need to score on the par fives. So the par fives are pretty important. The models weighted him pretty heavy too. And then, most of the par fours fall in that, 450 plus range. So that was kind of easy just to figure out where to, hone in on your, par four scoring and things like that. Greens are wicked, I mean, the nice thing is though, you get off the TIFF Eagle, which is nice. So I can kind of push that aside for a bit. We're getting into,
bent grass, little BG.
Yeah.
Favorite, little BG.
But you still have the champion on paper. So, you could still, dive into a couple of attorneys, which was kind of nice, narrow it down. So the Valero's got the same champion Bermuda. Sedgefield, the Wyndham's got the same champion Bermuda. I think it's Sanderson Farms has the champion Bermuda, and I am gonna have to refer to the model because my Southwind for St. Jude and here. So basically those are the 5 main tourneys with the champion Bermuda. Now granted, I know it's still got the overseed, but you can kind of hone in on that just to see who's actually putted pretty well. And I'll give you a little tip. JT doesn't really like the champion Bermuda. So it's a real question mark, after his putting fiasco last week, if he's really going to do well this week. Yeah.
He looked like me on the greens out there, man.
He probably do a little bit better, but it'll be fun to see. So there's that. Driving accuracy is important too. I mean, you're scrambling. It's a tough course to get your green and regs on. But I mean, around the green,
you hit it on the head for me with the par fives. That's where you're going to get your scores. Those par fours are tough, and I also, this is my 3rd week in a row. I'm going big with proximity at one. I'm going at 175 and up.
Yeah, I know some people are using the 150, but I mean, I'm not really thrilled with it. So yeah, for me, it was the 175 to 200, and then the 200 and over for sure.
That's exactly where I went.
Maybe we're on similar guys this week. We'll find out.
And so I don't know. It's gonna be this is gonna be fun. And hey, Pro, what are your thoughts on Quail Hollow? I know you love this course, man.
It's everything you want. I mean, it's hard, boys. I mean, it's over to 7,500 yards, par 71. I mean, the par threes are incredible. They're difficult. Nick touched on the green complexes. Everything about this course is difficult. That's why it was a perfect host for the PGA. It's going to be everything you want. I mean, your driving distance is certainly important this week, in my opinion. I mean, and I like a guy like Brian Harmon. But again, it's going to be a tough week for a guy like him, hitting lots of long irons into holes. It's one of those golf courses though, and you see the guys love it. The field's fantastic. One of the better fields this tournament's had in a long time. So it'll be a good week, man, and I'm excited that we're kind of ramping up for another major, and this is probably going to be your best test going into Kiowa.
Yeah, I think a lot of people jumped into this tournament this week because of the schedule and the way it's been changed, and you might see a weaker field next week.
Don't doubt it.
But yeah, I'm excited about the model. I did a very bare bones model, and I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've actually started skewing recent form a little higher than course history and things like that, just because it seems to be working that way for at least for what I'm doing. But let's jump into it. You ready to go to DraftKings and start talking fades and plays?
Sure, let's get after it, man.
All right, let's get after it. Unfortunately, like I mentioned at the top of the show, Justin's not able to join us tonight. I do have his picks, so I will call his out. That way you guys can get our full slate of best plays and fades and do with it what you will. And so let's get right to it. We're going to start with, I'll go ahead and read out Justin's, and then we'll go ahead and go to Guru. Justin is, and this is no surprise to anyone, all right? He's going with Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson, obviously, is one of his best plays. He is also going with Xander Schauffele. And where is our friend All Falcon Day? Because Justin is going with Rory McIlroy. And you know what? You can't really blame him when the model has him top 10. And so, he's going McIlroy, and he is fading the aforementioned Justin Thomas. And so those are his 5. And he even told me the primary reason he's fading Justin Thomas. Obviously, we have to fade a guy in a 10K range. It always looks weird when we say we're fading a guy in a 10K range. Obviously, it's the price. I mean, when you see Justin Thomas at 11.3 near the top of the range, and his recent form has just not been good, that's a very understandable fade as far as I can, see. That being said, Guru, let's hear it, man. 10K and up.
So, I kind of zig and zag a little bit, but I was kind of bored, or maybe I was catching from afar whatever Justin's got plaguing him this week. But the 3 guys over 10 I'm playing, I'm going 1, 2, 3 in the model because honestly, it made the most sense to me. So I'm taking, Webb Simpson. He was number 1 in the model. And, now most of the metrics I'm going to mention, tonight, I'm going to really focus on the last 10 tourneys as a whole. And really that kind of puts you about right before the WGC at the concession. So that kind of takes you from like the end of February till now. So you got about 10 tourneys, you got about 10 weeks. Not everybody played, I think the highest guys got maybe about 30 rounds, but the average golfers got somewhere between about 20 and 28, I think. But I'm just going to really focus. I'm just going to call it 10 tourney, strokes gained metrics. But in Webb's case, he was the number 1 guy in the model. I mean, he's top 10% in the major categories, and that's, been a pretty decent barometer most of the time. It didn't really do all that well last week, but yeah, we'll just shake it off and move on and call it a blip on the radar. But Webb's actually, there was a period of time about a month ago when I was really kind of wondering, where he was at compared to the rest of the field, and he had some limited playing. But the nice thing is, Webb lives in Charlotte, so this is like a home game for him. And when you look at his strokes gained metrics, he is 9th off the tee in the last over the last 10 tourneys in the field. He's 14th with his approach, 14th around the green, and 43rd in putting. That's just pretty darn solid across the top. I mean, and if that's not elite, show me what is. Then you look at his form. He's actually got 4 top 30s across his last 5 tourneys, which is pretty solid. And, being a home game for him, he's played this tourney 11 times, and I'm not counting the 2017 version when they played in Wilmington. I'm just throwing that out of, course history when I mention it for people. But he's got 7 top 40s in, 11 trips in the tourney, which is a pretty good number. And yeah, I'm going to bet him outright too. The fact he's number 1 in the model, and the fact you can get him for right around 20 to 1, I think there's pretty good value there. So I'm going to take a stab outright in here, DraftKings for sure. I'm also going to play Bryson. I mean, he's number 2 in the model, but, for as good as, Webb stuff was over the last 10, Bryson's number 1, off the tee. He's 12th in approach, 9th in putting, which is kind of surprising because, people still don't realize Bryson's actually a decent putter. It's just the short game is, what needs a little bit of work because it's only 56th. But, he played
with the damn 7-iron length club. It probably doesn't help.
Probably. But he played Kohala in 2018 and got 4th. So, I mean, I think he can get his way around a little bit. Of course, that was the before bulky Bryson. So, we'll see how this actually works out in the end. And then, over his last, 6 tourneys, he's actually got 5, in the top 50. I mean, he's got some better versions than that. I just had to group it by number. But, form's there, course history's there, and the stats are there. So, yeah, he's a play for me. And then I'm going to play Rahm, too, because Rahm was probably going to be the number 1 guy overall in the model. But just because I did count in course history he's never played, that kind of penalized him. Otherwise, he'd have been a clear-cut number 1. But when you look at his last 10, he's 3rd off the tee, 18th in approach, 39th around the green, and 64th in putting. I'll take a stab at it. And that whole baby daddy thing, usually works out. And if there's a place and a time, it's probably now, or maybe it'll be in Kiowa in 2 weeks. But either way, I wouldn't be shocked if he won one of the next 2. But as far as the course history goes, he did rank out 4th overall in the model as far as the comps go. So just because he's never played it, he's done pretty well at, other similar tourneys or similar courses that I think, are a pretty good barometer. So I expect him to do pretty well here. And actually, when you look at his last, 6, even if you include the Zurich, he's got 5 top 10s in his last 6 tourneys. So he's probably got one of the better forms overall. So yeah, it's a no-brainer play for me. So then you look at the next 4. So then, or next 3, JT, Xander, and Rory. Rory just seemed like kicking the dog. We've kicked him, a couple of weeks. I just wasn't going to kick the dog anymore. That just got boring to me. And I really wanted to fade JT. But, he could just get the putter going enough. I don't think he will, but in the rest of his game is actually there. The putter's really the only thing holding him back. So I backed into Xander by default. So Xander's my fade. Now, he got 72nd here in 2018, which is a huge difference from Bryson's 4th. So there was a separator there. He still does have 5 top 40s in the last 6. But again, when Rahm's got 5 top 10s and you're counting 5 top 40s, there's kind of a huge, form difference there. But then when you look at his, strokes gained over the last 10, he's 102nd in putting. That's no bueno. And then the rest is just kind of mediocre average down the middle. He's 55th with his approach, 62nd off the tee, and 60th around the green. So that just seemed like okay. There you go. I mean, Rory wasn't much better, but I can make more of a case for Rory than I could for Xander. So Webb, Rahm, and Bryson for me, and Xander was a fade.
Awesome. You didn't want to kick around Rory anymore.
No, not this week. No.
All right. Hey, Pro, let's hear it, man. Let's hear your plays and your fade, man. What do you got?
Yeah, so somewhat similar to Nick. I will roll with Webb Simpson. Model loves them some Webb Simpson. He's got a good track record here. Like you said, it's a home game. His form's been I mean, listen, not every week guys are going to play well. Yeah, he's coming off of a week that we don't really like. But again, it's sometimes with these guys, it's just the click of the fingers, move the ball back in the stance, open the face a little bit. They can get it back on track really easy. I'm going with Rory. And I listen, if there's one track to get back on track, it's probably Quail Hollow. Dude's had tons of success at this golf course. If he gets the driver going again with the length of the golf course, I like Rory this week. Some time off is not a bad thing since Augusta. So I expect him to be in better form. He's probably personally not going to, he's embarrassed with the way he's played. So, he's going to be doing whatever he can to get back right. Excuse me. I will go with Bryson for my third pick. Again, just the weapon of the driver. As you alluded to, his putting statistics aren't bad. Really, with Bryson, it's 125 and in. And like I touched on, I mean, when you're playing with a damn 7-iron, it's like playing putt-putt, like a kid playing putt-putt with an adult club. I don't know. That's something that can definitely be cleaned up for him. But again, with the way that driver's a weapon and the way he can move it, this golf course, if he's driving the ball well, he has such an advantage on the field. And then I'm also going to fade Xander. I was with you too. I wanted to fade JT as well. Again, just a gut play with Xander. Tough pick here. Usually, like Nick said, I would go with Rory as my fade. But I mean, again, the past success around this place, you would think if there's a time to get back on track, it might be this week.
Very cool. We are very similar. And it also, we have to be similar because there's so few players up there at the top this week. I am also going to go with Bryson. And he's 11K, but in my model for 24 weeks and with off the tee distance, 175 to 200 plus putting and approach. Bryson's number one in off the tee. He's number one in distance. He's number one in proximity, 200 plus. He's number 8, 175 to 200. He's 16th in approach, and he's 34th in putting. Dominant number one in my model. And so the fact that he's number 2 in our guru model and he's number 1 in my model, he's a bullet point, and I've already put some money down on him as well. I'm betting him outright, and he's going to be in a lot of my lineups. I'm also going with Rory McIlroy. I don't hate the guy. I like Rory. But I do believe what you guys are all saying is good and true. And it would be easy for me to beat him up because recent form hasn't been great. But I agree with Pro. The time off helps. And then I was just taking a look. Even in the last 24 weeks, he's 9th off the tee. He's 2nd in distance. He's 12th in 175 to 200. He's 12th in 200 plus. He's even 31st in approach. And so if he just has some good luck with his putter, I think. And plus, here's one of the biggest things I want to talk about. Rory's at the bottom of the 10K scale now. He's at 10K even. Sure. And so for the value. For being 6th in my model and being, where is he? 9th in the Guru's model and being at the bottom of that range. Yeah, give me some Rory at 10K. And then my last guy is the guy that both you guys just faded, and that's Xander Schauffele. And I just think he's one of those guys that's due. He's got the skills. He's got the ability. He's 6th in that 175 to 200 approach. He's also 34th in the 200th. He's 19th in putting. You're going to need that. He's 21st in approach, 13th in distance, 31st off the tee. He's not bad in anything. He's not great. Is he doesn't look like Bryson this week or even Victor Hovland, but he does look really, really good, and I like him. So I'm going to be a contrarian on Xander Schauffele, and I'm fading JT. He's 11,300. He's the most expensive guy out here, and his form is just not there, and so it's an easy fade at that price point. I still love JT. Don't get me wrong, and he could go out and win this thing, but at that price point, I'll pass. I want to wait. I want to see him putt and see what he can do. But I just love the field. I just love what we're going to see this weekend. I'm really excited about it. But anyway, so we're going to have fun creating our consensus this week.
Sounds
because in the 10K range, there's 3 players that have three votes. And so Webb Simpson has 3, Bryson has 3, and Rory has 3. Pretty interesting. So that'll be a fun discussion.
Just a reminder, Rory is a Euro. One more
I know.
Rory is a Euro.
And I'm playing him. I like those Euros.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
I love the Euros.
Yeah.
Who got you?
Yeah, right.
You can guarantee Fleetwood's being faded by me tonight.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There we go. All right. There we go.
Fair enough.
The order's back in balance. We're good.
So is Molinari. You're going to see it. All right, let's go to 9K. We'll start with Pro.
Yeah, my favorite play of the week, Tony Finau.
Oh, wow.
Man, I know. He's got 6 top 10s this year. I mean, it's time. It's like, when is it time? If the putter gets relatively decent and he's going to contend again, I'll beat this dead horse. It's a big-ass ballpark, man. It is a big ballpark. And Tony Finau is probably – I mean, if he wanted to be, Tony Finau can get up the ball speed in Bryson territory. Tony Finau's probably the 2nd or 3rd longest player on tour. Cameron Champ, Bryson, whatever you want to do with it. It's just like, when is it going to be time? He played well with Cameron Champ in the the Zurich. So again, dude's gonna win. It's just when. Then the chalk plays Vicky Hovland. Tell me something that it's hard to find. He's literally a model of consistency. It's just really hard to find a weakness in his game. He's 5th strokes gained tee to green. He's making it hard to bet. I mean, to not pick him, except, his value just keeps going up and going up. He's got to putt well, of course, but I can't not pick him. And then my guy, Patrick Reed, disappointing week last week. Again, he's had a nice year, to be honest with you, kind of under the radar. I know he won the Farmers. He's 2nd in birdie average, so we know he can put it up. No distance issues with him. And then my fade was kind of easy, I think, at 9K. Is Patrick Cantley. I mean, the dude's missed 3 straight cuts.
Yeah, man, he's been.
It's basically just recent results. He's 86th in driving accuracy. He's not hitting fairways. He's looked sloppy. Maybe the girlfriend thing or whatever the rumor was is really jacking with him. So I'm just going to fade his ass until he shows me why I shouldn't. If you prove me wrong, and so Patrick Cantley certainly has a game to do so, but until he does, he's just going to sit on the bench.
Wow.
There's a story from back in the day, and I don't know if I'll tell it right, but Sergio was dating, I think, Greg Norman's daughter. And then they broke up, and then he just admitted that his game went to crap for like 3 months. So if there's any truth to the girlfriend thing, yeah, for sure. I totally believe that's all this is right now.
Boy, that kind of makes me feel like, mentally weak.
Shots at Patrick Cantley's mental state.
Well, just wait till I go to my 9Ks.
All right.
Never thought I'd do it, but I did it.
As a matter of fact, I'll jump into my 9Ks and we'll go to Guru. Because Guru's got it. He's loaded for bear. I can feel it. I'm going with Hovland. Obviously, you guys know it's just a check every time he
Yeah,
plays.
if he's in the field, it's the Spieth for you. What Spieth is to me is McCallum for you.
And you know what? I saw a little bit of improvement around the greens last week, and so I really liked what I saw. And you know how good he is in those long irons. And so, you know, the mere fact that he's third in my model, and he's right there again in of course, now he's down a little bit in Guru's model. He's down to 14, but dude, he's fourth off the tee. He's ninth in that 175. He's fifth in that 200. He's 19th in putting. He's 21st in approach. I'm going to take the guy. He's $9,800. I'm going to take him. I've already bet him too. And so Hovland's he's in there. You can count on him. I'm also going with Max Homa, and I know he won last year. That was his win, his big victory, and he did win last year, right?
2 years ago, but
years ago, but yeah,
yeah.
And he's at the very bottom of the scale. He's at 9K. He loves the course, but he's coming in really, really good. Sure, he melted down with the putter a little bit Sunday, but man, it's too many tournaments in the last 6 weeks that he's been right there.
He's becoming
you talk about Finau. You talk about Finau. He's right there. And so, in the fact that he's a horse for this course, he's coming in hot. He's at the bottom end of the 9K range. Once again, we're giving people what we feel as value plays for the price. He's in there for me. He'll probably be chalky. I know that on our projected ownership, we currently have him in our ownership. By the way, when the model comes out tomorrow, you guys know the tee times, the ownership, all of those things are in the model. And we actually have Homa project about 14.65. That's kind of high. And you know what? He may be chalky, but there's sometimes you got to play the chalk, especially when the value's there. And so I like Homa at 9K. And just to tell you why, he's number 2 in proximity at 200 yards. He's number 8 in approach. He's number 9 in putting. He's 17 in 175 to 200. He's 27th off the tee, and he's 40th in distance. He has no weakness for this course in the last 24 weeks. So, yeah, Homa's in there at 9K. And my third guy is the mentally weak Patrick Cantlay. And you know what? Maybe it's just trying to be contrarian. He's usually a 10K type player. He's down to $9,600. He probably deserves to be. But still, in the last 24 weeks, he is still in this field, top 10 off the tee. I like that. He's 14th in that 175 to 200. He's 24th in both approach and putting, and he's 31st in distance. And so he's still got it all together. Hopefully, he puts it all together, and he's worth it at 9,600. Like I said, he's normally a higher price point guy, and so I'm taking a chance on him, and I am fading the Canadian himself, Corey Connors.
What? You love Corey Connors, dude.
I do love Corey Connors, and I'm fading him mostly because of his driving distance. This is a beast. He's 117th in the field in driving distance. He's clean with the irons. I mean, gosh, he's number 2 in approach, but he is 69th in that 200-yard that iron, and he's 54th in that 175 to 200 iron. And he's 117th in distance. So, but he is accurate off the tee. It's 6th overall. He's number 2 in approach. But those key factors, driving distance and accuracy with the long irons, those are turning me off of him a little bit. And so he is my fade. And that takes it to Guru. You guys weren't expecting that, were you?
Well, no. I have the follow-up question. So what? No Will Zalatoris love? Like, did you guys get divorced or what?
You know what? 9K is loaded.
He's just going with Europeans this week, bro. No Canadians, no Will Zalatoris. It's a straight Euro card.
I'm telling you, I love 9K. I love 9K this week. I'm not a big fan of 8K, to be honest with you, but I love 9. And I wish I could have put Zalatoris in there.
You could change the rules, we could go.
Just
all right. If one of those 3 guys I picked suck, Zalatoris was what I meant.
Okay.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Or any of the other guys you didn't pick is what you meant.
I think by now the entire audience knows that I have a love affair with Zalatoris, Connors, and Hovland, and a little bit of Scheffler. You guys know I have a little love there too.
He'd have been 9,000 if he was here. Don't worry. So
I know
it would have been the right range for you.
Well, Guru, what do you got?
So I'm gonna put them both. I'm gonna put two together, and then I'll get to my third one separately. So I'm gonna tag into Hovland and Homa. I'm not one to normally play the defending champ, but when the guy's got 7 finishes in his last 9 tourneys of top 22 or better, I mean that's just too good to not play. And they profile out pretty much similar over the last 2 months. I mean Hovland and Homa in terms of their games, they've got the strong off the tee game, they've got the strong approach game, they've got the strong putter, and just if they lack, it's they'll round the green a little bit. But you know what? I'll take my chances. And Copperhead, Valspar, it's a comp course. And I wasn't on Hovland last week. I thought he would do pretty well, but, it's not somebody I overly played. But, if they both, kicked some butt and took some names last week, there's no reason why they can't do it again this week. A lot of the comps for last week, apply this time. And if that profile worked there, it sure as heck ought to work here. So, and Hovland's form's great. Hovland's form's great. So, yeah, that's 1 and 2 for me. There's a lot of you mentioned that the 9K is actually pretty good. So the tiebreaker for me was just going back and seeing what the model spit out. So Patrick Reed's my third. He's got 4 top 30s.
Me last week. He disappointed
I know
me.
he disappointed me too. But you know what? If you haven't learned by now that I keep going back to the same damn guys for that one time that they're going to do it for me, it may be 15 times in a row, but I'm going to keep going back until they do it. Maybe it looks smart. So,
hey, you got to believe in your model. And
right.
So, yeah.
So you might need to come back and see me in October, November, but I'll, eventually I'm going to feel smart along the way. I've got my list. I've got my list of guys I'm checking off, waiting for, and unfortunately most of them are in this week. So, we'll see how this goes. But he's got 4 top 30s in his last 6. So, I mean, the form's actually pretty good. I mean, he's made the cut, 6 straight times here at Quail Hollow. None of the finishes have been really, well, there's one that was pretty good, but they're above average, but not really elite. But, his all-around game has been pretty good the last 2 months. I mean, 23rd with the putter, 34th with the approach, 41st around the green, 47th off the tee. He just needs to get his head out of his keister and go to work and, get out of trouble and we'll be fine. But being a harder course, he seems to step it up at these harder events. And I expect him to do well. I expect him to want to get some Ryder Cup points. I expect him to try to come into, the PGA in 2 weeks on a high. And I think this is a good place for him. So figuring out the fades, there's a lot of interesting places to go. Cause honestly, like you, I think the 9K thing is pretty strong. And I think you really could do wonders just taking 3 9K guys and building your lineups that way. But, just for the sake of the game, I had to play one. So yeah, I faded Cantlay too.
Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, the 3 missed cuts in the last 5. I mean, I don't know where his head's at. I mean, there's some shaky, stats over the last 2 months just with the tourneys he's played. The one thing I would say is he hasn't played as much as some of the other people. So although stats, look really not awesome on paper, you throw a couple of good rounds in there and some of that could wash out a little bit. But there was enough there where I figured, okay, I'm going to fade him. So Reed, Hovland, and Homa, and Cantlay was my fade.
Okay, and Justin, he sent his picks in via proxy, and he has also Finau pairing up just like Pro. He also has, and it's the first time we've mentioned his name, Joaquin Niemann, and so he likes Niemann, and he also has Victor Hovland. So we do have our first consensus 4-pick player, and
there
so
we go.
He will be in our consensus plays. And his fade was none other than Patrick Reed. And so
short-term memory, huh?
Yeah, very much so. And I thought about it, but I went with Connors, and just because of the distance. But so anyway, really, really good stuff. And I think 9K I think the winner's going to be in the 9K range. And so I've got a few of my outrights that'll all be in the 9K range. All right, so let's just jump to 8K. Let's give the people what they love. I'll lead off with 8K. I'm going to start with he's very high in our model, and when he's high in the model, when Guru puts him high in the model, you got to pay attention to it. And $8,700, Brian Harman. He's 5th in the model, and so. If he's 5th in the model, then you got to, it's an instant play. He's sandwiched between all those 10K guys, and he's in the 8K range. And so I'm taking him. I'm also going to follow that up with Tringali at 8.4 because he's 6th in the model. So you got 2 8K guys ranked 5th and 6th. Why would I not take those guys? And so, and of course, you look at Tringale's form. I mean, gosh, the guy is just, he's lights out right now. 16th off the tee. He's 26th in approach, 33 in putting. He's top 40 in proximity 200. He's not as good in that 175 to 200, but he's making up for it with his approach shots. And so, and the fact that he's very accurate off the tee, I'll take that. He's better than half on driving distance. So yeah, give me Tringale as well. And my third 8K player is none other than Sebastian Sungjae Im. And I just, I really like him. And let me see here.
There's your buddy All Falcon Day. He missed your Rory pick though. Probably.
Hey, yeah, All Falcon Day. Rory was selected as a major play by 3 of the 4 panelists tonight, and so we're all on Rory this weekend. So, pretty excited about that. Sungjae Im, he's 3rd off the tee. Okay, he's also 4th in putting. He's 7th in the field in proximity at 200 plus, and so give me some of those. He's struggled a little bit. To me, he's a 9K player playing in the 8K range this week, and so he's in my top 25. He's also right there, 17th overall in a Guru model. So when you got him in both of those ranked that high, yeah, I'll take it. And then my fade in 8K is going to be Tommy Fleetwood, even at the bottom of the range at 8.0.
Everything feels right in the world. Everything feels like everything's right back in the world again.
I mean,
okay.
I mean, I hope one of you guys are playing him, and I mean, here it is. He's 119th off the tee, right? He's 104th in putting in this field in the last 24 weeks. He's 134th in proximity, 200 plus. He's 54th in approach, which ain't horrible, but that's one of his best statistics. And so, yeah, his form is not great. I'm fade that guy, and so that's my stance, and I'm not gonna back off of it. So
that's fair, man. That's fair. I'm gonna give you shit though. I mean, that's
you got to.
I
deserve it. I deserve it. But I will tell you, man. My fades have been coming through. Of course, some of my plays have been missing cuts too.
I don't have any Tommy Fleetwood stocks on my end, but
yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's go ahead, Pro. Let's hear it. Let's hear what you got.
Yeah, so Keegs, man. Keegan Bradley. Listen, I know sometimes he looks like he's never putted before, like Sunday of last week, but the ball striking's there. He had 2nd last week. He's got 4 top 10s, 7th in strokes gained tee to green. Dude hits the ball super solid. He's really had an under-the-radar year, kind of a resurgence year. It took him a little while after the anchor ban to kind of figure out what the hell he was going to do. Which we knew he was kind of going to be one of those guys that struggled, but I'm going to go with Keegs. This is one of those that kind of goes against everything I've been saying, but I'm going to go with Abraham Answer. I know the distance is somewhat of an issue, but he's just rock solid, man. He rolls it super well, good form. He's 2nd in driving accuracy. He's going to hit fairways. He doesn't put in a lot of bad spots. And then I'm going to go with Sebastian as well.
Nice.
Listen, 7th in strokes gained off the tee, 12th in driving accuracy. Dude, we talk about he's a ball striking Jesse. He's going to give himself opportunities. I like Sungjae Im. My fade's Harris English, just based off form, right? Now, Harris English had a resurgence of his career. Like, he really did. He came out, he won the TOC this year, the Century. And then since then, it's kind of been shaky. He's missed 3 out of the last 6 cuts, no top 20s in that span, 115th in strokes gained approach to green. Just kind of been shaky lately. So I'm going to go with him as my fade. So we're going to go with Keegs, Honest Abe, and Sebastian. Keegan Bradley, Abraham Answer, and Sungjae Im for the people that don't watch the show often. And then I'm going to fade Harris English.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people don't know Sebastian, but yeah, I think they're going to get it after like tonight. Guru, what do you got, brother?
Man, you guys are just making me look good or making me look bad because I don't really have much different from what you guys came up with, but I have it in a slightly different order. So I'm going to go with Answer first, actually. I
He's
thought,
top 15 in our model.
yeah,
and he's an
but
8K guy.
he's got 7 straight top 26s or better. Like,
wow.
that's just
No, I did
insane.
not
I
know
didn't
that.
realize his form had been really that good. And then if you look at that, 10-week, 10-30 period, it's actually, the strokes are actually better than you think. He's 12th off the tee, 26th in approach, 30th around the green, and 34th in putting. And he's not even a great putter. That's like pretty all around, pretty darn good. The only thing that's a little shaky, he's only played he missed the cut in 2018, but he models out 30th as far as the comps go. So, with the run he's on, yeah, I'm going to take a flyer. And this is one of those places where there's been a pretty good track record of folks getting like their first, tourney win here too. So, and I kind of feel like we owe Answer one. So he's on my short list, and the fact that the form checks out, yeah, I'm going to play him. And then I stayed at the top of the model because it was actually just, I don't want to call it a no-brainer, but it made sense. So I've got Harman and Tringale both. Taking Harman's, one-off victory that he got in this tourney in Wilmington, a couple years back. But I mean, he's got 6 made cuts and 7 trips. I mean, he got a top. He got 10th in 2013, and he got 24th, I think, in 19. So it's there, and he's got 4 straight top 13s as far as their current form. And then the last 10 weeks, 10 tourneys, he's 6th off the tee and 1st in putting, and then 4th around the green. The only thing that's shaky is his approach game. Like, I'd be not so. I need to play him. I'm going to play him. I would hate myself forever if I didn't play him. That's a nice way I can say it.
I mean, yeah, you I mean, at that point in the model, how can you not?
I get it.
Well, it's and the nice thing is where he's up there. I mean, if I really stand behind it, I mean, Tringale and Harman both are pretty good building blocks. You throw whichever higher salaried stud there, and that's a pretty good 3-man anchor to if they do what they've been doing, that's a pretty good 3-man anchor to build from, and that leaves you all kinds of options underneath, even to go chase a 4th mid-price guy or what have you, without having to dip too far into the 6s, unless you find somebody in the 6s you like. And then Tringale is right there. I mean, his form, he's got 6 finishes of top 31 or better in his last 8 starts, so he's been pretty consistent. I mean, he's top 30 putting the last 10 weeks. He's 6th around the green, 15th off the tee, and his approach game is better than Harman's, but that's where he lacks a little bit. But otherwise, they're clones of each other. So if I like one, I've got to play the other, and the model kicked him out pretty good. So
since I've been on this show, dude, your model has loved Cameron Tringale, and he's done nothing but he hasn't won.
He had a career year though.
But he's just played his ass off, and it's just like every week it's like, damn, Tringale's up high again, but then he another nice finish. It's just the way it's been.
Well, like, look at Burns, right? Like, he had been consistently good, and he was due when he finally got one. So I figure if you keep playing enough of the guys that have been consistently good, they're due. They're eventually going to get one. Maybe they don't. Maybe he ends up 2nd this week, but if he doesn't win, fine. 2nd's still going to help all of us, as far as DraftKings go. So yeah, I'm going to
8K players.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride that train all day long, and then I'm gonna piggyback off of Drew here, and I'm gonna fade Harris English. I mean, like, I thought about Fleetwood, but Fleetwood's got a couple things in there that maybe he could flip, but I don't really know where English is at. I mean, the couple times he's played Quail Hollow, the best thing he got was 17th, but the other 2 were 54th and 74th. Like, was not really great. And the best finish in his last 5 is 21st. And then you take the, last, 10 weeks, 10 tourneys, he's 133rd off the tee. Like, no thanks. And then for somebody that's actually a pretty decent putter, he's 109th. Yeah, no. And then, the other stuff's middling, but that seemed like an easy fade for me. So I'm going to play Brian Harman. I'm going to play Cameron Tringale. I'm going to play Abraham Answer. And I'm going to fade Harris English.
Good deal. We're going to do a little echoing here for Justin. He is going with Harman and Tringale. He's following the model. And I mean, gosh, why not? This is what we do. We've done pretty daggone well following this model. And so, yeah, he's all over it. His 3rd is Shane Lowry. And I found that a little bit surprising because we haven't talked about Shane Lowry at all. And he's a Euro, so I should have faded him. Just kidding. But his fade was none other than Harris English as well. So we had 3 fades on Harris English, and he's 30th in our model. So I find that interesting. But you got to fade somebody, and he's the one that you guys seem to be fading, and so should be fun to track that down. We'll go ahead and go right to 7K, and I'll just go ahead and read off Justin as well. Justin is playing Matt Jones. He's playing Matt Wallace. And he's playing Stuart Spink.
Oh, damn.
I was thinking about that too as I
That
started reading them
trifecta
all.
would have been fantastic, but
Yes, it would have been. But yeah, so he's doing Jones, Wallace, and Sink, and he's fading Carlos Ortiz. And that being said, Guru jumped right back into 7K.
I've been kind of tailing Wallace for a while, and I'm not going to get off. So I would say that Wallace is probably one of my favorite plays in the 7K range. So he's a little further down. There was a couple of guys higher up, but I feel like I trust Wallace this week, and the way he's been playing again, it fits that. Been playing pretty well. If he keeps the form going, maybe he'll do, all right. I mean, the last, 8 starts, he's got 6 of them, top 34 or better. So the form's there. He doesn't have the course history, but he still, ranks out, 52nd as far as the comps go. But the strokes gains over the last 10 weeks are actually pretty, insane when you look at it. I didn't even realize they were this good. So he's 9th in approach. He's 9th around the green, 44th off the tee, and 61st in putting. For 7,500, a guy, 32nd. Yeah, I'll take that. And, I'm actually going to place an outright on him too. And I think the 70 to 1 is actually pretty good. So he'll get a piece of my action for sure. Since I referenced it earlier, if I feel like, Valspar and, Copperhead are kind of similar courses and good comp courses to here, then even though that Saturday +5 or +6, whatever he shot, just put a knife through my heart, I'm going to go back to Lucas Glover and play him one more time.
G Lover.
So the cool thing here is he's been here so many times it almost hurts, but the 15 times he's played Quail Hollow here, he's got 10 of them inside the top 50. So I think he can get away around the course pretty good. He's got all kinds of
his wife attack him or something. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, there's a weird story from a couple years ago. I don't want to say I don't want to say I've got it right, but yeah, there's a running joke about his wife for sure, and something happened there. Yeah, awesome. Maybe we can research it and talk about it, later in the week, or save it for next week. We, when we don't have a whole lot of.
When he brings home the championship wearing no glove, I love me some G Lover, man. I love that.
That's hilarious.
And his, form's not terrible either. I mean, he's got 6 top 50s in the last 9 starts. So for, 7,800, he's right there. And then if you look at his, 10 weeks, I mean, it's 30th off the tee, 52nd in approach, 33rd around the green, and 46th in putting. So I wouldn't call it elite, but I would definitely say it's above average. So if he can kind of shake some of the demons that got him over the weekend and, come here and do what he's done before, I think he actually even won, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere 10 plus years ago here. So I mean, of course, it was different, but I think he can do okay. So there's number 2. And then I really struggled with number 3, and I tried to look around, and so I went down a little further, and this is where I veered from the model, and this is what's probably going to get me into trouble, but I'm going to chase a little lower model chalk, and I'm going to go with Harold Varner III.
HV triple sticks. I love that pick.
Yeah. So
he was one of mine, and I flipped a coin and I lost him.
So, I mean, he's from North Carolina, and I like that angle. I mean, it seems to do pretty well that people, not everybody, but a lot of times people step up their game when they're close to home and get the family and friends contingent in the building. But if you look at his last 10 weeks, he's actually been doing a hell of a lot better than you probably realize. He's 24th off the tee. He's 29th around the green. And for somebody that can't putt, where the crap, he's 31st in putting and 49th in approach. Again, he's kind of in that, Glover class of, not elite, but definitely above average. And he's worth, taking a long look at. What's a little sketch is probably the course history here, because if you take out the, Wilmington trip, I mean, he's got 2 miscuts in the 4 trips here. So it's a mixed bag, but the best finish was 24th. But, in his last 8 events, he's got, 5 made cuts. And then 5 of those made cuts were top 21s or better. So I think he's in the middle of something. Hopefully he hasn't peaked. Hopefully he's got one more in him, but I'm going to take a shot because, for 7,600, and I just need him to, hopefully finish in that top 20, and we'll go from there. So let's go for the fade. I'm going to be mean. I'm going to really be mean. And I'm going to fade Ian Poulter. And
fade a Euro?
Here we go.
I'm not going to fade him because
he's playing with his son, man.
That's one reason I'm going to fade him. I'm going to fade him because he's got the kid on the bag. I swear,
as a family man yourself, it seems wrong. It really does.
It felt wrong, but the last
your own
time
children are disappointed in you.
Yeah,
they were when I told him, because now they want to caddy for somebody too. And I said, well, Dad doesn't play pro golf, so that doesn't work. But he hasn't played here since 2016, and then before that it was 2009. I know that he's in recent weeks, he's been a pretty good putter, and pretty much that's what the kid needs to do. Just hold the bag, and he doesn't have to read the green. Dad can take care of the rest. But I mean, you played here twice in the last 12 years. That's not great. Kids on the bag. That's if you've never done it before. And I assume he's not expecting much. It's Mother's Day weekend. He's gonna let the kid caddy for him Thursday, Friday. They're gonna get back in the plane or the car, go back to Florida, and spend it with their wife over the weekend and mom. And there you go. But you look at his last 10 weeks. I mean, he's 106th off the tee, and he's 111th in approach. So, I mean, unless he puts it someplace good, I don't see how the kid's going to help him. And I just think he's just, hey, you know what? I need to play. They're making me play. You know what? You want to do it? Let's just do it this weekend, and we'll call it. You know what? And
I like what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I mean,
and he's a Euro. I should be fading him anyway.
So there you go. So yeah. So I'm going to play Wallace. I'm going to play Glover. I'm going to play Harold Varner, and I'm going to be mean and fade, Ian Poulter. And I hope he wins on Mother's Day and makes me look like a complete jackass with another one of my fades. But yeah, he's my fade.
Wow. All right. Hey, Pro, let's go, man. 7Ks.
Yeah. HV3, Harold Varner III is my first guy out there.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I mean,
I should have stuck with him. We could have had 3.
Listen, so I was going over my picks before the show, and I had Golf Channel on, and it was a 2019 PGA Championship at Bethpage. And I'm thinking, do I pick Harold Varner? And who pops on the screen but Harold Varner III? He made triple on the hole. However, it just made sense to take HV3, 24th in strokes gained tee to green. He took second at Heritage. The guy's kind of been an under the radar rock solid player for the last few years. I'm also going to go with Stuart Sink. The one thing that blew me away when I was looking at Stuart Sink, he's 27th in driving distance on tour. Isn't that incredible?
I think they're going to start testing him for some noise.
Yeah. And so not only do you throw that on top of these first in greens and regulation percentage, dude hits lots of greens, hits the ball decently far, especially for his age, fresh off the win. I will go with Stuart Sink. The other guy that I took is Taylor Gooch. And it's hard to tell you the reasons why, because he doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but he does everything pretty damn well.
He's got a mean Twitter game, though.
Yeah,
that was pretty sweet. Like, I would have bet on him and see if I can, get my money back.
Listen, he's got 3 top 10s on the year, so his form's overall been decent. Again, he's an under the radar guy. I don't necessarily expect him to win. I expect him to make the cut, a top 20s potential. So I'm going to go with Harold Varner, Stuart Sink, and Taylor Gooch. And my fade's going to be Russell Knox, which I thought was kind of a little weak fade because he's missed the cut in 3 of his last 4 starts. 164th in strokes gained putting and 115 strokes gained off the tee. That's not a great recipe, boys. If you can't hit it off the tee and you can't putt, I mean, shit, what are we doing out here?
Right.
So collecting a check.
You're right. I will fade Russell Knox. God bless him and his family, but he's not going to do it this week.
I love it. All right, let's wrap up the 7Ks. I went with Stuart Sink also. And as I was looking at the numbers, obviously I'm looking at, the model. He's right just outside the top 25. He's at 27. I also like the fact that he's going to be less than 9% owned. And so 7,900 for a guy that's playing that good and that kind of ownership, I'm all over it. And to further the point, in the last 24 in this field, based on my criteria, he's 6th in proximity from 175 to 200. He's 5th in approach overall, and he's 36th in putting. And so the fact that he's 33rd in distance from my model here, it's somebody with that low of ownership and coming in with that good of form. Yeah, give me some Sink. Also, I'm going with Streelman. Streelman's one of the highest ranked guys in the 7K range in Guru's model. And so, he's 7,700. But another reason I like Streelman is he's projected at 5.8% ownership. He could be one of those guys that could go out there and get it done. And he's 19th off the tee. He's 20th in the proximity from 175. He's 25th in approach. He's top 50 in 200-yard proximity. And so, for that guy, I'll take it. A 6% owned guy with that kind of chops. And my third 7K is none other than the guy that hit really big for me a while back, and also Justin picked, and that's Matt Jones. And
I love Matt Jones.
I do love Matt Jones because he made me some money.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I like Matt Jones?
I agree with you, man.
And so as a matter of fact, I just lost him here.
Oh
gosh,
that's unfortunate.
For 100 to 1, he ranked 18th in mine. He was in like the top 20% of everything except like the course history and the comps, but he was just outside it.
Yeah.
He's just one of those quiet, like sneaky guys that you just probably wouldn't land on. And I don't hate him. I don't love him. He's just there. He's just like that quiet assassin. So if he shows up and what he's been doing, yeah, I think it's a pretty solid pick. And especially as far as DraftKings with a 74, if he does that, yeah, you can go any which way you want.
Yeah, it's $7,400. He's a PGA Tour winner this year, and to your point, I mean, he's 24th in driving distance. That's a quiet 24th, 46th off the tee in accuracy. He's top 29 in putting. I mean, he's even top 50 in approach. And so, yeah, a guy at that price point. What is our projected ownership you have on Matt Jones here? Let's see,
a little over 10.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, give me that guy. And then my fade is Francisco Molinari.
Welcome back, sir. Welcome back.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. He's 112th in distance. You guys know what I'm doing on this course. If these guys are that far down in distance, and he's 73rd and off the tee. He's 70th in approach from 175. He's 56th in approach from 200. He's 62nd in putting. He has nothing going on for him right now that gives me any reason to have him other than an F next to fade. Let me ask you boys this real quick. Did anybody consider either picking or fading the Rickster? Was Ricky Fowler on anyone's radar to pick and or fade?
He's missed too many cuts for me to pick him, or I should fade him. But $7,800, for sentimental reasons, I didn't fade him.
Yeah,
and there was a euro.
That sums up my feelings about it. I just didn't want to do it. I was like, I can't do it. I mean, the guy's down. I'm not going to kick it while he's laying on the ground dying. I mean, yeah, I was shocked that he wasn't on a fade list, to be honest with you.
It's almost like I feel, to your point, I feel bad. So I'm just going to leave him alone.
Just leave the guy alone.
When you find a couple of guys that are all like just in the trash, for lack of a nicer way to say it, which one of the three has the most potential to spike up? I'm not saying he can or will, but you know what? When you have a couple guys there, you know what? I feel more comfortable just taking the dead weight, and I feel like Poulter is going to be dead weight. I thought about it, but I was like, you know what? If I don't mention you, you can do well, and that's fine. I didn't have you. Or if I don't mention you and you suck, that's fine. I didn't have you. I'm just not going to go on a limb either way. But to your point, yeah, I mean, he could go either way. As like to see him do okay, because I'm not sure if he'll back into the PGA or not, but I don't think he will. I don't think he'll do well this
exemption. Week. You got a sponsors exemption.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. So I guess we'll see him in 2 weeks. Watch. That'll be the thing he shows up for.
Yeah.
You think?
I mean, if Rose can show up and shoot 63 at the Masters, Ricky could show up and shoot 65 at Kiowa on Thursday.
Everybody was real pissed off about that sponsors exemption too, because it was like a PGA Tour exemption based off of World Golf Ranking recent form. And it's like, well, his form's been terrible and his World Golf Ranking's never been worse. So that was a controversial thing. But yeah, the Rickster will be at Kiowa. Look out for maybe a 63 or an 89. We just have to see.
He can go full Keegan and do both.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Wow. All right, let's just jump right to the value plays. We're going to go to the 6K range value plays. Who do you got, Pro? What do you got in some values?
Sam Ryder. I'll roll with Sam Ryder. 3 top 10s on the year, 31st in greens and regulation. Not long off the tee, but a value play at 6,700. I also like Michael Thompson. Dude just makes cuts. If we're taking value, guys, we're just looking for a made cut for the most part. And then the old gut play.
Do it. You know you want to.
The old lefty, Philly Mick.
No.
I'm going to go with Phil Mickelson. Listen, boys. Listen, I was looking at some
course
stuff.
History here is sick, man.
And he makes every other cut. So he's gone miscut, made cut, miscut, made cut, miscut. This is the made cut week. it's just science. It's math. So we're going for Mickelson. All I want him to do is make the cut. I mean, based off of current miscut, he's 100% in the cut this weekend.
Wow, I like it. Gold.
That 10-week thing is actually pretty good. I mean, his metrics check out. I mean, he's kind of like right on that cusp for me, but I thought about it for sure. So I don't hate it.
If he was not in the 6K range, it wouldn't really be considered.
Yeah, I know.
But since he is, then I guess I got to roll with it.
I get it, man. I get it.
What did Justin have?
Justin, he had Thompson.
Yeah.
He had Luke List. And he also had Lashley.
Nate Lashley.
6.4. And so, let me see if he had a comment on that.
I mean, it's
Nate Lashley plays good every occasion.
I mean, it's
no comment, but he just that's who he had. He got those three guys, and I have one of those guys on myself. I have Luke List. I also have Sam Ryder. Just like pro. And Sam Ryder, man, I mean, for a guy that's in the 6K range, he's right, man. Pro's right. I mean, he's 23rd in approach in this field. He's 15th in 200-yard proximity. He's also 24th in 175 to 200 proximity. He's top 50 in off the tee and driving distance. I mean, good God, this guy's a 6K range. He's finished very well, and so
sometimes
give me some Sam Ryder.
DraftKings takes a while to really make people be realize that their value. So that's when you got to get them. Before, like Victor Hovland is going to be, when we talk in 3 months, he's going to be a 10K player every single week. We've already seen him go from the 8 range to the 9 range, and so you got to get them before their value is realized.
And here's why I like Luke List also. Luke List 17th off the tee in this field and 10th in distance, okay? He's also 12th in 175 to 200 proximity. He's 61st in approach, and he's 52nd in 200 plus proximity. He's a little weak with the putter, but if he can get the flat stick going even somewhat better than he normally does, if he can gain 2 strokes in putting, then he's gonna make the cut, and he's going to fare well. And my last guy at 6'7" is my value play. This is also one of my crazy ass dart throw guy. Tom Lewis. Tom Lewis is 34th off the tee in this field. Okay, he's 23rd in distance. He's 25th in proximity from 175 to 200. He's 32nd in approach, and he's 33rd in approach from 200. That's 5 categories where he's in the top 35. That's pretty damn strong. And at 250 to 1, 250 to 1, a guy with 5 of the 6 categories in the top 33 or better. I want some Tom Lewis at that price. Now, so those are the 3 guys in the 6K range that I'll probably mix in a little bit with my DraftKings lineups, and I will get a little bit of action on Tom Lewis. Not only is a 250 to 1 outright for the hell of it, I'm not going to spend a lot of money on it, but I'm also going to probably put him in a top 20, top 30 type of opportunity as well.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
What do you got, Nick?
So
here comes the sandbaggers.
No. Well, maybe, but probably not. So I guess they're a little further down the model because the model didn't really like them, but we all kind of liked Straka and Gordon a little bit last week, and then they got hit with the whole COVID thing. So if they end up playing, if you believe in the whole comp course thing, it's probably worth considering just to see. But it depends on what your belief is, if they can come right out of the gate from a, COVID break or not, and if they're going to be worth anything. I still am not convinced they'll play. I think they'll end up getting tossed at the last minute, so I probably wouldn't play them, but it's one of those things you want to monitor, and, they catch your fancy. I don't think it's a terrible idea. Thompson was the highest 6,000 guy we had, or 6K guy we had in the model, so it's somebody I like too. I mean, he's got, he's made the cut in 5 of the last 7. He's got decent course history here. He got 11th, he got a 28th, he got a 42nd. I mean, his strokes gained stats are pretty good for the last, 10 weeks. I mean, he's 38th off the tee, 32nd around the green, and 14th in putting. He just lacks with the approach a little bit, but, just to make the cut and maybe boost himself up the leaderboard a little bit. So that's definitely somebody to play. James Hahn, he withdrew at the Honda. He's 41st in the model, but he won here in 2016. So I think he could get around a little bit. And then, looking at the last 10 weeks, he's still 32nd with the putter and 51st in approach. So I think he could do okay. I don't know. He looked like, well, to quote pro, he looked like ass at the Zurich. But, did he look like ass at the Zurich because he's just still recovering? Or did he look like ass because he was stuck playing with Martin Trainer? We'll find out this week, maybe. But the other two a little further down that I don't think a whole lot of people will probably mention. So I'll start with Andrew Putnam. He was somebody I liked as the model was coming into form and building it. He lacks a little bit off the tee, but the rest of his game is fairly well-rounded. And for where he's positioned in the model, he's 53rd in the model, and he is 6,600, and he looks like he's about 400 to 1. But he's 53rd in approach, 45th around the green, and 58th with the putter. So if he can make the cut, handle the greens, maybe, hit some of those long putts just because he won't be as close in as somebody else, I'll take a flyer with him too. And then kind of the boring, sneaky one that probably a whole lot of people won't play. I don't think he'll be, but no, I've got him projected a little less than 1.5% owned right now. I'll take a stab with Bryce Garnett. It doesn't really fit the whole coastal narrative kind of course that he seems to show up at. But if you look at the last 10 weeks, in terms of total strokes gained, he's 28th in the field. So he's actually been playing quite a bit and actually been doing, reasonably well. And then you kind of dive down into his, stats. So he's got four top 25s in the last 7 starts, which is, pretty decent. He's got progressively better course history. It's not great, but I think he's in better form now than he was. But he was 75th, so he made the cut in 2018. Then he was 60th in 2019. So if he can pop a top 40 or something, which I think is definitely a reasonable expectation for him, I think, something to look at. But he's 46 off the tee, 62nd around the green, and 41st with the putter. Those are things over the last, 10 weeks that kind of stuck out to me. So yeah, he's on my radar. And the nice thing is he's only 6,300. So if you really want to go top heavy with a couple of guys and you need some salary savings somewhere, he's somebody I consider throwing in. So Thompson, Hahn, Putnam, and Garnett are on my radar.
I love it. So collectively, we got Ryder and a couple of guys. We got Thompson 3-way. We got List 2-way. And so we got some really good action here in 6K. And I'm not afraid to dip my toe in 6K this week, a little bit. Last week I cashed really, really well with a 6K player that didn't even make the cut, but I got lucky with all my other 5 guys. And so I actually did well, not only with the outright bets, but I did pretty well with the DraftKings lineups as well. And so I'm probably going to go there again this week and see what can happen. Let's jump right to optimal lineups, guys. We have it. And Guru, you want to walk through it?
Yeah, absolutely. So top of the optimal is the top guy in the lineup. So you've got Webb Simpson at number 1. And then you've got Brian Harman at number 5. And you've got Cameron Tringale at number 6. So Webb is 10,200. Harman is 8,700. And Tringale is 8,400. So that 27,300 is a pretty good building block for your top 3 guys. And it leaves you, 75 and some change to build with your last 3 guys, which is a pretty high number. And you could go a lot of places with that. And I think it's a pretty good start. You've got course history, you've got, form, you've got the stats to check out with your top 3 guys. We referenced Thompson as a pretty good value in the 6K range, and he's one of the next ones up. He's 25th in the model. And, for a 6,900 guy, we touched on him and he's pretty good. So 25th in the model, he's, 4th guy in the model. Then the other 2 guys popped in at the $7,000 range. We touched on Matt Jones a little bit. He was 18th in the model and he is 7,400. So there's where your price savings is coming in. And I've actually got a model, at 18th. That's a pretty high number. Again, he's top 20% in, just about everything other than the course history and the comps, but he's just outside the top 20. He's like top 20. He's 25 to 30% in those type things. So he's really borderline elite in just about everything in the field, and just hopefully he shows up and plays like he's been doing. And then the to fill out the salary, the next one up is actually Russell Henley. we were all on Russell Henley last week. I think we had him fourth last week, and it goes back to the whole, well, if you think, that is the comp for this, the fact that he, dropped to 19th, I don't really think he dropped to 19th because he did anything wrong. It's just the field this week is that much stronger with the weight that you've got in the 9s, the 10s, and even the 11K guys. So he models out just as well as he did last week. And I don't think he could do any worse this week than he did last week. So I would almost bet on a flip the script kind of reverse type thing. I know we didn't mention him. I like him. I just think there are other guys that I prefer in the 7K range, but he's somebody, on my radar. And, he's got a house on, KY Island, with the PGA coming in 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure if there was something wrong last week, he worked, during the week to fix it. So he can hopefully just get the reps in this week and just go to town in 2 weeks and hit it. So Webb Simpson, number 1, Brian Harmon, number 5, Cameron Tregale, number 6, Matt Jones, number 18, Russell Henley, 19, Thompson, number 25, and that is 49,500, which is a bonus because that one of the few optimal lineups that I can remember where they've actually got a little bit of a cushion there. So
yeah,
I think it actually works out pretty well as a good building block core lineup. And if you wanted to, rotate out, each one of the guys one time and sort of cascade it a la, Rick Rungood. And I think it's a pretty good place to start because, plus minus 500 on any of these guys, you could pretty much get to anybody you want and build a pretty good lineup. And it still projects out at, about 514, 0.3 points, which is a pretty good number, I think, for this tourney. So give it a crack. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully you do something well with it. And hopefully
I'm going to do exactly what you said. I'm going to cascade that sucker in probably 3 different levels. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's a good looking lineup. I love the fact that we got 3 of the top 6 overall. And then we got these other guys that are filling in that all have big upside. Good. That's a great looking opti.
I was excited too. So here's hoping we can do something with it. One of us just crushes. Hopefully all of us crush, but hopefully really one of us really crushes. Come on, Pro, it's your turn. Let's go.
Yeah, what do? Are we going outrights here?
No. I just meant like it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. I was like, shit. Okay. No, hey, I'm okay with having my turn. I'm fine with that. Listen, I have had some good luck playing the optimal lineup in the past, so I will roll at least one straight up. And then we'll tweak it and have a little fun with it as well.
So, you guys want to talk outrights? Do you have a few outrights or a few? I know Guru loves to get into the outrights, but he also likes to get into some of these other prop bets, which I really like. He plays FRL first round leaders a lot, and that scares the living daylights out of me. I can't figure out how to get a first round leader, and so I don't know how you can be so bold.
It's my lottery ticket. You got the guys that go every Tuesday and Friday and put their $5 in at the convenience store for their Mega Millions ticket. Yeah, I just do it once a week, except it's on Thursdays and it's called a first round leader. It's the same thing. Except I don't have a $300 million thing I could buy into, Maybe I can land 100 to 1 shot. Maybe if I get really froggy, maybe I land a 200 to 1 shot, but it depends how much I want to put down. And I don't put down that much because it's just more just fun and something to do on a Thursday,
Right. Well, anyway, so for outrights, I went ahead and locked all mine in. And so we'll do the consensus after the show and we'll share it tomorrow on Twitter or maybe tonight on Twitter. I am going with, and it's pretty spread out. I got a 15, a 20, a 30, a 35, and a 45, and I got some long shots. I'm starting with Bryson. I talked about him. I gave you the reason why I'm picking Bryson, but Bryson is an outright for me, 15 to 1. His numbers cannot be denied based on the model that I've got for Quail Hollow. Number 1 off the tee, number 1 in distance, number 1 in proximity from 200 yards, number 8 in proximity from 175 to 200, 16th in approach and 34th in putting. He's a slam dunk for me. He's my biggest bet of the week. And so I'm going Bryson. I'm also going with Victor Hovland, 20 to 1. I think he's definitely he's right there. He's 3rd in my model, 4th off the tee. 9th in proximity from 175, 5th in 200, 4th in approach. He's all over the place. What I saw in the short game last week, and so I love me some Victor Hovland. And then I'm going with the guy that you guys all seem to want to fade. I'm going with Patrick Cantlay, 30 to 1. That guy's really, really good, and he's going to get it all together. And so at 30 to 1, it's very rare to see him that high, and so or that low on straight up on odds. So I'm taking Cantlay. And then I've got 2 more guys here. I'm going with Max Homa at 35. The guy won 2 years ago. He's number 2 in my model. He's second in top proximity from 200. He's 9th in putting. He's 8th in approach. He's 17th in 175 to 200. He's also 27th off the tee and 40th in distance, and his form is as good as anybody. And so at 35 to 1, former player for the winner on this course, yeah, I'll take that at that rank, at that odd. And then Sungjae M at 45 to 1. I just love Sungjae for this week. Part of it's gut, guys. I'll just be honest with you. Part of it's gut. And but the other part is the fact that he's 7th in putting in this field. He's 7th in that proximity from 200. He's 3rd in off the tee. So he's got the stats to back it up. He's not the longest guy. I'll be honest with you. He's not the longest guy, but he's really good on that long iron. So give me Sungjae at 45. My 2 bonus long shots are going to be Keegan Bradley. I think Pro really likes him at 70 to 1. This is a guy that damn near won last week. Okay. And he's been playing out of his mind. And so for him still to be a 70 to 1, yeah, I'll take that, especially when you look at, even at 200, the 200 plus proximity, he's 3rd in this field. He's 11th in approach. He's in the top 40 in both off the tee and driving distance. 70 to 1, yeah, I'll take that. And then my other one is 100 to 1, Matt Jones. I've already won big with Matt Jones. He's really high in our model. He's also in our optimal lineup. If I can get a guy in our optimal lineup and a guy that the model likes that much and a guy that I like that much and a guy that's already won on tour this year, 100 to 1, yeah, give me that. And then my crazy ass dart throw, like I talked about earlier, Tom Lewis, 250 to 1. When he's in the top 33 in 5 of the 6 categories for the Quail Hollow model that I put together, then I'll take him at 250 to 1. And I also got him at 40 to 1 in a top 5, just for fun. I'm not throwing hundreds of dollars on these guys, but I just like it. It feels good to me to be able to put a 250 guy to 1. Now he may not even make the freaking cut, but you know what? It's fun to sit there and root him on.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Not bad.
Cool.
Not bad.
All right. So anybody want to share their outrights?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll go. I'll start with my boy Tony Finau. I got him 27 to 1. It looks like he might be 26 to 1 now, so we'll go 26 to 1. I also like my man Sungjae at 45 to 1. To your point there, my friend. I like Keegan Bradley 70 to 1. I like Harold Varner 90 to 1. Also,
I didn't even see that one.
Yeah,
like that one.
yeah. Also, just a couple little change it up here, a couple top 20 bets. Songjae's plus 175. I'll take Keegan plus 250. And do I like anybody else here? Oh, yeah. We'll take Harold Varner plus 335. So those will be some 3 top 20 bets, just throwing those in there. But yeah, I love the 90 to 1 from a man Harold Varner, although he hasn't really won shit. So
hey, but you know what?
First time for everything.
But,
that's right.
But he, I like him this week. Justin did have outrights. He had, where's his outrights?
He had to have Webb. Like, come on, he's dying if he didn't bet Webb.
He has outrights on Finau and Brian Harmon so far, but he's got more to go.
That's right. He did say that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Finau and Brian Harmon. Well, with Harmon 5th in the model, 50 to 1. Yeah. I thought about it, but it wasn't I locked in 6 already, at least of outrights. I really wanted to go 7, but I guess we were all hanging around the water cooler or something. So I started with Webb. Webb's at 20 to 1. It just seemed like a really, good number for him, higher than you've seen recently. And if he checks out in the model, he checks out in my head, and I think it makes sense. Talked about, people being due. And so I'm going to bet answer at 35 to 1. That just seemed like a pretty good number for him. And if he keeps playing like he's been playing, it should be pretty close. Now, I compared Hovland and Homa to each other, and just as far as DraftKings go, but really there should be a third person that whose game over the last 10 weeks probably lines up right with them, and that would be Joaquin Niemann. And since I don't think I'll get to him in DraftKings because Homa's $100 cheaper, I am going to place an outright on Niemann at 35 to 1. or I should say I have, and it actually made sense. And then to piggyback off of the, two that we've already matched. So I'm going to chase. Don't think I'm going to get to Sanjay in the DraftKings, but I already put 45-1 on him as well. That just seemed like a pretty good number. And, what's sort of hidden by the model, and I think it's going to be slightly skewed because he, what he did at Sanderson Farms, but, he's the model kicked him out as the 4th best putter in the field. And on top of, the putting he's actually done over the last, 10 weeks. So that's actually pretty good there. Again, talking about being due and riding the form you've got, Keegan Bradley made a whole lot of sense to me at 70-1. I've been riding him for a couple of weeks. There's no sense in getting off the train now. And then I alluded to the bet on Matt Wallace at 70-1 that I already placed as well. And so Webb, Answer, Neiman, I'm Keegan Bradley and Matt Wallace would be my 6-pack of outright bets for the Wells Fargo.
I love it. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Amazing show. Justin, we miss you. I hope you're okay. I know you got a sick family. We'll be praying for you and your guys. And we look forward to seeing you next week. We do have a show on Thursday night with Pro, the From the Tip show. He might even have a few pro tips for us. And we're also going to talk first round Quail Hollow, and we're going to do our DraftKings showdown lineup live on the air as well for Friday. And also, if you're watching this video on YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe, pick your winner. We haven't had a winner in quite a while. Pick your winner in the comment section on a YouTube page. And if that winner wins, you win an autographed picture of that winner. So get it on there, have some fun with it, share our content. Hopefully you like our content, and we appreciate you. And we appreciate your guys' loyalty to us. We're having a lot of fun with this show, but there's a lot of work, a lot of effort that goes into it, and sometimes it just feels kind of good to get a compliment every now and then. And so we appreciate all that. Any final thoughts from you guys?
If Bryson wins, can I get the picture, or can we send out the picture of Sam Burns on the Twitter account?
Oh no, yeah. What was that all about? That had to be that's the agent running that, probably the same agent running 2 Twitter accounts. And and did you see this, Dave?
Wait a minute. I don't know what you're talking about.
So it was legitimately Bryson DeChambeau's Twitter account tweeting out a picture of Sam Burns saying how he won, that Bryson won. He was like, man, this victory feels real good. And it was a fucking picture of Sam Burns with the trophy from last week. Bryson wasn't even in the field. It was fantastic.
Oh my God.
That's the picture we need to send out this week. So come on, Bryson, win, please.
Well,
somebody pick him. Somebody pick him so we can
crazy.
It.
We are going to have to put Webb on the thumbnail for this YouTube video, because he's our number 1 guy in the model. So we'll get him out there. But that's hilarious. But anyway, guys, we love you. Look for the Guru article tomorrow. Profile of a contender. Attached to that article will be the complete model, and the model will have projected ownership. It's going to have points per dollar, points per DK dollar. It's going to have odds. It's going to have tee times. It's going to have the entire gamut of things that go into the model each and every week, and it's just amazing. It's beautiful to behold the work that Guru puts into this. So take a look at it and give Guru some love on Twitter. And until then, good luck. We hope you guys hit. And you hope you guys cash. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Did you get all that? If not, make sure you head over to hammercast.com, subscribe, and join the Hammer Nation. Until next time, keep grinding.